Hello YouTubers, Joe Kersey here on November 30th, 2019, St. Andrew's Day at just a hair before 1700 in the afternoon Eastern Time. And as I like to say, and mean every time I say it, God bless us all. I want to thank all the people who have been kind enough to sort of watch my hesitating return to YouTube here over the last couple of weeks. Those of you who watch me pretty much regularly know that I'm looking a lot better today and feeling a lot better today. I got doing some thinking. I'd gotten to the point, as I mentioned, that it's like the front of my legs were mush. I could barely stand up without having to stand in place for 40 seconds or more and hold on to something. And I was getting to the point where I was going to be non-functional. So at that point, your medical training kicks in. Hopefully, and it did. I'm surprised it took that long for me to realize this, but it did. Whenever a patient, or in this case myself, is experiencing something completely bizarre and you can't readily explain it, right off the bat, unless it's a really bizarre problem. Well, bizarre in the sense of like completely out in another universe problem. The most likely problem is a drug response or drug reaction. I don't like to use reaction because that implies a mechanism that may not be happening. A drug response, an atypical drug response, an unusual drug response. So I say, what's the new drug I'm taking? And it's Pantoprazole, sodium, 40 milligrams, delayed release tablets. And that's the proton pump inhibitor for my, gastric ulcer disease situation. And I realized long about first part of this current week, that I had been taking this thing now for 5 months because they put me on it in the hospital like from day one. So from June 23rd to, as it turns out, November 27th, maybe November 26th actually. Meaning Monday the 25th was the last day. I figured this has got to be what's causing this bizarre situation with the weakness, and I was hallucinating at night, and all of that had become intensely worse during the past 3 weeks. So I stopped it. The last day I took it was Monday the 25th. Now that I'm thinking about it, I should have written it down, but I didn't. And Tuesday was, there was a difference. Wednesday there was a lot more difference. Thanksgiving Day, it's like, here's something to give Thanksgiving about, because I was essentially back to where I was in April in terms of functionality, mentation, muscle strength. The sciatic nerve back pain issue aside, which is markedly, almost totally under control with the CBD oil and the occasional acetaminophen, I felt like I've been resurrected. Really. So there's good news on that front, and Friday was better. Today's been, here I am. So there's been other things going on. That you heard my sort of moaning and groaning thing 2 videos back, because the video before this was recorded on Wednesday afternoon when Paul came over to do his laundry, and we sat and talked. And I think part of my situation in that one is he's he's gonna be having some moderately big time legal problems here coming up in the next week or so, well, month or so. And I can't really talk about the specifics of that, but he came up and told me about that. And, God bless him. You know, I mean, I only had like 2 words for him. Well, 1 word for him. Well, 2 words. A sentence. Why don't you just use Grindr? You know, that might give you an idea of what the issue might involve. But further affiant saith naught on that. Didn't involve me. He was just telling me about what happened. So he's you know, soldiering on at work and all that. He didn't collect his. He came over on Friday and collected his clothes from the dryer. So he's got his clothes back. And then I guess let's see. Thomas and Carter and Kelly went over to her family, her sister and brother-in-law. Well, sister and Thomas's brother-in-law. Excuse me. On Thanksgiving, and I guess her dad drove over separately. And so they were there like Wednesday night, Thursday, and then came back home Friday afternoon early, safely, fortunately. Thanks be to God. And so they had her sister's 3 kids and her husband, and then Carter was this, and so good. That's great. And then I guess last night, Carter was like a little sleepover, so Thomas and Kelly could, actually have some actual like adult time, which I'm as busy as they are, I'm sure they needed and wanted, and particularly after, three nights at a strange, even if it's a family member's house, can be, intense. It's the holidays, people get together who might actually, they're supposed to really like each other, but there's problems. I don't think that's the case with this crowd. It was never really the case with my family either growing up. Albeit as the kids get older, i.e. my sister and myself got older, even though we were doing everything we were told and doing everything this way we were supposed to do it, it was always like, lots of half-inhaled love there, everybody holding their breath, trying to figure out what not to say. Happy Thanksgiving. Actually, Thanksgiving and Easter were my two favorite celebrations. So I'm just rejoicing. I watched the Ohio State-Michigan game today. It's been over now about an hour. And now I'm kind of looking at the Michigan-Minnesota or the Wisconsin-Minnesota game with the sound off. I hadn't watched any Ohio State football for years, and then maybe I've watched maybe 2 games. Well, the TV people wouldn't let you watch them, until like this. The last 2 years, you can actually watch these things. Fox puts a lot of them on. And so I can, I can watch them because I'm not going to get cable TV to pay to watch them. That's for sure. Although after Ohio State won Penn State, the Penn State game last week, I got, as I do, I got happy ideas later on in the Saturday evening, and I emailed Thomas, and I looked around online for tickets for this Michigan game, and you could find on StubHub they were around 160, 180, a ticket, and some of them you could get pairs together, and so I suggested to Thomas that I pay for everything. He drives. We go to this Michigan game, and I thought, well, that's a long shot because I kind of figured they were going to go over to Dayton anyway, to her sister's place. So, but it was a fun idea. Had some fun thinking about that for a while. As I said, I'd mentioned I've gone to Michigan games in Michigan Stadium before, and I've gone to 3 Ohio State Michigan games at Michigan Stadium. It's just tremendous fun, I was actually able to arrange to take my parents there in 1973. So my dad and my mother were able to go together and sit together in the actual Ohio State section while I was over. One of the better memories of my life. I want to thank all the people who have been so commenting, just graciously commenting about my coming back. I appreciate that. So I think that's pretty much it tonight. I'm going to I'll have some dinner here in a couple of hours because no eat, no live. That's sort of a basic medical thing. They don't really overtly teach you that in medical school, but that's true. No eat, no live. All righty. Bye-bye, YouTubers. And thanks for watching.